Previously on MDA.
So you're saying there could have been a different outcome if Mrs. Rosenbaum had been given a chance to find a different ENT man?
Someone with a little bit more experience who had a lower rate of perforating the esophagus than Dr. Gosper.
Yeah.
You now have yourself a case.
Can we expect your payment for the call?
Look, Dr. Laws, I grasp the economy of scale thing. In the 5 years I've been doing orthopaedics, I have paid you people over $100,000 and made not one call on it. There's a meeting planned by some MDA members. We're going to discuss some concerns we have about our defence fund.
All right, what sort of concerns might these be?
Many and varied.
Experience, that's what counts.
Assuming you're given the chance to get some. You're taking over the case, aren't you?
Yes.
Mr. Savage, how important is today's decision?
This is another important victory for patients' rights. Justice Perry said doctors have a duty to warn a patient of all the risks associated with medical treatment. Mr. Gosper failed Mrs. Rosenbaum there.
We toast our failures.
Ipso facto that a patient will necessarily seek
Arrogant in victory, sullen in defeat.
Hey, hi.
Simon, hi. How are you?
Good. You always walk to work?
No, I've just started, actually.
Hey, Simon. Jamie, how are you? Bad. Is that Amanda? Yeah, it is.
Jamison, that stuffed up meningitis case.
Yeah. I'll have the report to you by lunchtime.
Amanda, don't mean to pry, but what the hell are you doing?
Stretching. And now for a shower.
Yeah, silly of me. I must have missed the sign MDA Fitness Centre.
You see? I wobble.
That must be very uncomfortable.
It's embarrassing. Particularly if I'm at a function where I'm on stage comparing. People think I'm drunk.
Renee, thanks. I've seen enough.
Oh.
Thanks. How are you in other shoes?
Oh, well, it's not such a problem. I mean, you can't wear golf shoes everywhere.
And this has affected your ability to work?
I've had half the number of jobs this year.
Right, so you've obviously suffered financial damage. Can you put a figure on the loss?
Oh, well, my accountant says I'm down about 60,000 since the operation. And that's not just in personal appearances. I mean, it flows onto everything else. Television, commercials, radio.
Radio?
Oh, yes. I mean, I haven't even been offered a spot on the evening shows. And I know why. Because people are saying Renee's hitting the bottle again.
Again?
Oh, well, I had a little problem a few years ago. But, darling, even when I drank, I never wobbled.
I'm sure you didn't.
It's not as if I didn't go to the best. I mean, Cameron Foster's supposed to be top drawer. You know, the worst thing is we actually sat next to one another at a dinner once. He's quite a nice man.
So he's a friend?
Oh, no, he's, you know, some charity do or other. As soon as I learned he was an orthopaedic surgeon, I told him about my toes.
As you do?
Exactly. And he said he could fix them. I was thrilled.
So, Renee, why did you decide to have your toes shortened?
Oh, darling, they were enormous. Oh, no, you should have seen them. And they went off at some strange angle.
Right, so the operation involved the removal of some bone?
Yes.
Yes, OK. So we're saying he's negligent basically because he cut too much off?
Yes. I mean, you know, I'm quite happy with the size of my feet now. The thing is, I've totally lost confidence in standing on them.
Well, there's no point having feet you can't use.
Try that one.
Ah, thank you. Oh, bugger it. No.
He dropped his watch battery.
Oh, bloody hell. Can you see it, Layla?
Hang on, look.
It's a little round silver thing.
Yeah, I know.
God.
Morning, everyone. Someone drop a contact lens.
Morning devotions.
Found it.
Oh, great. Thank you, Jamison. You'll be remembered in my orisons.
Gee, thanks.
Thanks, Layla.
So, Bill, are we ready for this appeal?
Well, any appeal court with any brains will certainly fine for us, but you can never be sure that any court will have brains. It's the problem.
Very encouraging.
Got it.
Is this the Rosenbaum and Gosper appeal?
The very same.
Well, the judgment was clearly flawed. So what are our plans on that?
Well, we're going before the appeals court.
What are orisons?
Prayers or something, are they? It's in Shakespeare, I think.
Excuse me. That's my space.
All right. Thanks for that. Ready? By the way, can you tell me where Cato and Pittman's office is?
23rd floor. Turn right out of the lift.
Terrific, thanks.
Can I ask what this is about?
Watch Channel 3 tomorrow night. You'll get the full story.
If this goes ahead, surgeons will have to warn their patients of every possible risk.
Which they already do.
But now you'll have to provide a complete curriculum vitae and indicate your relative level of proficiency in case the patient wants to shop elsewhere.
Yeah, so that's the reason for the appeal.
Exactly. If the original decision stands, it'll make life hell for all of you.
Works on me. But will it work in court?
That is the million-dollar question.
This isn't going to cost us $1 million, is it, Bill? Okay. Amanda?
If it goes to the High Court, it might. If we win this round, it's exactly where they might go.
Well, we'll put an end to it.
It actually addresses that problem exactly. Okay.
Lawyers too, doctors nil.
With.
Exactly.
Thanks. Morning. You don't want to find out afterwards that it was their first time. Caitlin, have you met Nerida?
Yes, in the car park.
Your directions were very useful, thank you.
Caitlin is the expert working on the Rosenbaum case.
Are you working with Richard on this?
Yes.
It sounds fascinating.
It is. It raises some very important questions.
So Richard was telling me. You ready?
So what do you think about the tie?
Looks good to me.
I'll leave you to it.
Okay.
Richard, when you've got a minute.
Sure. Behind the desk?
I think so.
Right. Interviews.
Yes, I can see you really hate them.
Seem to go pretty well.
Well, I'm sure Nerida thought it went fabulously.
How are you going with Rosenbaum?
Well, Claudia wants everything.
Well, it is an appeal, so get it right.
You happy to leave it with me this time, are you?
Second time around, do you need me for this stuff?
No.
Fine. Happy to leave it with you.
Richard.
Mm-hmm.
That Dr. Renee Salmon is suing about her toes. Is that Cameron Foster?
Yes.
Who's representing him?
Why?
Because if it's the same Cameron Foster, he's one of the doctors who refused to pay MDA the extra levy. Made a big fuss.
Right, okay. What's his status? Are they going to cover him?
I think it could be an issue.
Yeah. It's interesting. Thanks.
It's just one of the little extras I provide.
Hey, it's why I hired you, isn't it?
Morning.
Okay, 11:15 this morning should be fine.
Morning.
Bye. Jamie, can you see someone 11:15?
Okay, yeah. What is it?
Cameron Foster, we've dealt with him before.
The orthopod, who's part of the group action.
Not the bloke that reckoned we should give him a no-claim bonus.
That's the one.
He's got a problem, has he?
Some woman's claiming he's removed too much bone from her toes.
And now he wants some help.
He's pushing it.
Who's this?
One of Ruth McIntyre's mob involved in the group action.
Wow. Caitlin and I explained the situation to him very clearly when he was in here last time.
And he hasn't paid the call.
Well, we told him he might not be covered if something like this happened.
And he's quite aggressive about not paying it too, by the way.
Look, I don't want to have to deal with him again. Give him to someone else.
Simon, can you... you might need to get up to speed on this.
Sure, what's the issue?
Recalcitrant to a member seeking assistance.
Has he paid his annual subscription?
Yeah, he's up to date with those.
Yeah, but he hasn't paid the call. Could you double-check that, Layla, please?
He hasn't, I know.
So stuff him.
My thoughts exactly.
Simon, you'll need that.
Cameron Foster.
You know him, do you?
He's a good surgeon.
Mate, you're welcome to him.
Medical Defence Australia, Layla speaking.
Ready?
Almost. You know, I'm flattered you're so confident in me. You let me do all the work once again.
Sure, my confidence is well founded.
Well, the truth is, if you've got other things to do, you probably don't need to be at this at all.
Caitlin, I'm the instructing solicitor. I know you've been carrying the load, but I always give you credit, don't I?
I'm not looking for a pat on the back.
I think Claudia would be disturbed if I did not stay with us all the way. Thank you.
Fine.
Before Foster comes in here, I want our position to be perfectly clear.
And what is our position?
He hasn't paid the call, so he's not covered. End of story.
Come on, Bill. Look, we're trying to negotiate a settlement with these people. Taking that attitude with Foster now could get their backs right up again.
Well, what do you suggest we do? Just cave in?
No, I'm not suggesting that at all.
Isn't this precisely the issue? We've imposed a levy because if we didn't, we wouldn't be able to cover the demands on our funds.
Exactly, we'll go broke.
Right, and Foster wants to be able to call on our funds without contributing to the levy.
Yes, but he has paid the subs.
Well, if he thinks that means we're going to cover him, let him sue.
Well, he's already suing us. Him and 71 others.
Actually, I think we're really lucky this has happened. Isn't this exactly what they're all terrified
Precisely.
of? Finding themselves exposed without any cover? This is the risk they took by not meeting the call.
Okay, so you're saying we should just tell him that we won't represent him?
Yep.
Yep, I agree.
You don't think we should hear him out first?
Why?
Because this is an individual that we're dealing with here.
You see, I don't want to jump the gun until I know exactly what the trouble is. I mean, it might amount to nothing.
Any compromise weakens our position. If MDA provides cover for a non-call paying member, it's tantamount to invalidating the call. Foster is not covered. We should just tell him that.
I can feel a call to the board coming on.
Well, there's no time, Mark. He'll be arriving soon.
Well, we might have to put him off, Bill.
Simon? Can you discover what the problem is?
Good. I'll leave it in your capable hands.
Then we'll tell him.
Wasn't there a Californian case?
It doesn't help us.
What about the Canadian judgment? Athay and...
Leonati.
That's the
Yes.
one.
The loss of chance doctrine suggests that plaintiffs may be compensated where their only loss is the loss of a chance at a favourable opportunity or of a chance of avoiding a detrimental event. Your Honour, Mrs. Rosenbaum lost the opportunity of having surgery performed by a more experienced surgeon.
Exactly.
You might want to look at Laferriere and Lawson, too.
Yeah, red folder, yellow slip, sorry.
Okay.
I haven't finished indexing everything yet.
No, you have done a great job.
She has.
Yeah, we hardly need you at all, Richard.
Well, I've got an appointment to get to.
Well, thanks very much. It's good.
I'll bring you up to speed, okay? Thanks. Sorry about my associate. Claudia, I just want to let you know that whilst I think Caitlin is doing a very good job...
An excellent job.
I'm still fully on board, okay?
Okay.
Caitlin! Hi.
Hi.
It's been a while. Mind if I join you?
Sure. So are you thinking of withdrawing the Gosper appeal?
God, no, we can't. We have to win.
I reckon things could get difficult for MDA.
Yeah, maybe. How are things with you?
I'm working, and Richard's getting more intolerable by the day.
In what way?
In a Richard way. Do you think he still might have, you know, a thing for you? Probably, but only because he hates to lose.
Cameron Foster, I have an appointment.
Yes, Mr. Foster. Can I get you a cup of tea or coffee?
No, thanks. Cameron.
Simon!
Hello, how are you?
What are you doing here?
To see you, I work here.
How long's this been going on?
Just over a month now. Bit of a change. How are things?
Good. You?
Well, Carol, I'm fine, thanks.
Oh, she's fine.
Come on through. How are the kids?
Good. I'm here to see someone about...
Yeah, that's me.
Uh-huh. Great. This has to be temporary. I mean, you haven't given up surgery.
For the time being, I have.
I'm glad I'm in here talking to you, not one of them. How's Eva?
She's good. She's still in Germany.
You're not,
No, she's working. So, what's this all about?
Heard of Renee Salmon?
I've seen her picture in the paper.
I did an excisional arthroplasty on her and took a bit off her big toes. The procedure was textbook perfect, but now she reckons she has a permanent balance problem. It's bullshit.
Right.
Well, it's a perception thing. Oh, you know that. Anyway, I got this writ.
Richard Savage.
I presume there isn't going to be a problem with my cover because I didn't pay the call.
I understand you're part of the group action.
Yes. But I am up to date with my subs. I've spoken to our lawyer, Alan Somerville, and he's advised me that as I've paid my annual subscription, MDA legally has to cover me.
If he thinks we're going to fork out thousands for someone who won't pay the call, he's dreaming.
Obviously, I can't say at this stage that he's not at fault, but he is a good surgeon, Bill.
Who won't pay the call?
But who has paid his annual subscription.
Not the point.
Yeah, look, we're taking a group position on this, Simon.
Okay, this is one doctor, and maybe we can find a way through this for him.
Yeah, with a bunch of other doctors who happen to be suing us.
And you don't think a flat rejection is going to make us look even more like the bad guys here?
If we give in on this, we might as well hand the call money back right now.
So we make an example of Cameron Foster.
No, it's his choice. He can pay the call any time he likes. You didn't tell him we'd represent him, did you?
No.
Okay, well, you'd better explain that to him.
Maybe you should.
All right. Unless, Amanda, you might like to do the honours.
You come from the front. I'll slug him from behind.
Bill Henderson, Senior Case Manager. This is Amanda Mackay, one of our legal team.
Cameron Foster.
How do you do?
No, we understand that you've received a writ.
Yes.
Now, before we get on to that, we need to sort out your status with us.
Well, there's nothing to sort out as far as I'm concerned. I'm a fully paid-up member of MDA, and I expect you to fulfill your contractual obligations to me as specified in your constitution.
Yes, but Mr. Foster, it's how we understand fully paid up, which is the issue.
If you check your records, you'll find that I've paid my subscription for the current period.
We are aware of that.
But you refuse to meet the additional call on members' funds. Therefore, you are a non-financial member.
Rubbish.
And furthermore, to our understanding, you're part of a group action which is suing MDA.
Correct.
And as pointed out by Alan Somerville, you're also prepared to sue for a refund of subscriptions for any members who were refused cover by this organisation.
That's right.
Well, that's pretty simple, really. We're quite happy to refund you your subscription. I'll get a cheque drawn up.
I don't want a refund. I want service.
Cameron, you're in a spot. You've received a writ. Quite naturally, you want protection.
That's right.
And we're very happy to provide that cover. There are no problems whatsoever.
Good.
As long as you pay the call.
I'm not paying anything. I've already paid. I've paid my annual subscription. Now I want the service I paid for.
I think we've got a problem.
And how are things?
Okay.
Yeah? Richard not cramping your style?
Richard do that?
Only if you let him. As far as I'm concerned, whatever the nominal roles, you're the one who's actually instructing me in this case.
Well, I don't think Richard quite sees it like that. He's the instructing solicitor.
Yes, the responsibility does lie with him in the end, but credit where credit's due. Do you think you'll stick with Medneg?
Well, I can't see myself running around Cato's for the next 10 years like some kind of gopher.
And nor should you. If you let them use you, they will. And Richard's not one of the worst.
Well, I just want to get ahead. You know, I don't want to always be asking permission to use my initiative.
No. Well, that's one good thing about what I do.
Richard's charming, but he always has to be on top. It's his ego.
Same old, same old. Same at the bar, it's a boys' club.
It doesn't stop me wanting to be a member.
Secret ambitions.
No, you're in charge of your own life. You don't have to fill in a timesheet. You don't have to cost everything. I'd like that.
And you get to take home the money you make.
That's right.
So why don't you give it a go?
As a barrister.
You can always go back and be a solicitor.
You don't think I'm too young?
Do you think you're too young?
Oh, I just think everyone else thinks that.
Well, you can't let everyone else determine what your career is to be about. Unless there's something personal keeping you there.
No. God. No way. So what do you want?
I'll have just a red of some sort.
Pinot and a scotch, please.
You stalking me, Kate?
Trust me, Richard, no.
You've met Merida? Yeah?
Yeah, more than once, actually. Hi.
Amanda Mackay, Nerida Bailey.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Hi.
We're going to keep moving.
Sure. Don't sharks have to keep moving?
Yeah. He never stops.
Amanda's with Cato's?
No, Caitlin is, of course. Amanda's the enemy.
How long's, Caitlin been with you?
Well, I brought her into the company. She used to play for the opposition.
And you seduced her into changing sides?
No, I assure you the seduction was entirely mutual.
So you haven't heard anything?
I can't tell you anything you don't already know, Cameron.
Henderson's got it in for me.
I wouldn't say that.
He thinks he can hang me out to dry as an example to everyone else in the group action. But it's not going to work. And you can tell him that.
I'm not going to tell him anything.
Jesus, Simon. Just because you're working with pricks doesn't mean you have to become one. I've got a writ hanging over my head, mediation about to start, and I want to know if my MDO is going to step up to the plate.
I suppose you could always pay the levy.
Bugger that.
She's wearing flatties. Must be serious.
How long has this been going on? No idea. Can't keep up? Oh, I don't try anymore.
Yeah, right.
You ever considered the bar? Yeah, I thought about it. I've just always wanted to be a solicitor. Yeah, but you don't get frustrated being stuck in the same organisation with the same people.
Depends on the people.
Sure. When you're free to walk from one job to the other, you get to meet a whole lot of other people.
But do you ever really get to know them?
No, and they don't get to know you, and that's the best part.
We're sorry about this, Cameron, and we do wish there was something that we could do, but although we're totally sympathetic to your predicament, we find that it's impossible for MDA to represent you at today's mediation.
And that's it?
Unless you can see your way clear to contribute to the call.
So you're trying to blackmail me?
No, it's nothing personal, I can assure you.
I've paid my subs. MDA is obliged to cover me. If you don't, I'll sue.
Well, of course, that is your prerogative.
It is my legal advice that I could do that.
Perhaps it is, but it is also our advice that you won't succeed.
So at this point, I'm not covered.
That's right.
What do you think about this? Do you think this is fair?
Cameron, I can understand that you...
Simon supports the MDA position. Once you engaged in this group action, you risk being caught up like this.
I can always go to another medical defence organisation.
Yes, and they will highly likely cover you, but not retrospectively. They will not cover this.
I'll get a lawyer to handle it on a one-off basis, then.
Your unflagging keenness to contribute to the holiday homes of the legal profession warms my heart. Going to a lawyer will cost you a heck of a lot more than paying the call will.
But I'm not going to pay the call.
Fine.
I'll represent myself today if I have to.
Oh, novel idea. DIY. Put us all out of business.
Cameron, I wouldn't recommend trying to negotiate on your own behalf.
But that is the position I'm being forced into.
No, that is the position you have put yourself in.
This is pointless.
Look, I know you're a man of principle, but let me warn you, if this ends up in court, you'll be paying many thousands of dollars just to prove your point.
I know what you're trying to do.
I'm offering you a way out of this.
The answer is still no.
So yes, he's informed us that he's going to represent himself.
Without a lawyer?
That's what it means. I think he's an idiot.
So it's not going to be such a problem for us?
Well, it's certainly going to alter the dynamics of the mediation, but yes, I do expect it to work considerably in our favour.
I want to be there. I want to see it.
I'd advise against that, Renee.
Oh, they're my toes.
Renee, you can certainly be there for the initial presentation, but after that, it is usual for the clients to wait in the anteroom.
Oh, that's not going to be any fun. I want to see Cameron Foster trying to worm his way out of this.
I don't think that is such a good idea.
Well, he's going to be in there, so why can't I be in there?
He has to be there. He's representing himself.
I want to be there, Richard. I do have a right, don't I?
Yes, Renee, you do have a right. Yes, you do. But I want you to understand that I will be the one leading this negotiation.
I hear you. Don't worry. I'm not going to be stealing your thunder.
Good.
Fabulous day out there. I know who you are.
Renee.
Caitlin King, my associate.
No, I know who you are. My mother used to listen to your program on the radio. Is that still on?
No, not at the moment.
We're off. Thanks.
Oh, good one.
Oh, she's one to have in your team.
Yeah. Ms. Salmon went to Mr. Foster basically because she wanted her big toe surgically corrected. Now, the operation involved the removal of 2 millimetres of bone. He cut too much off.
Nonsense.
Mr. Foster's negligence in carrying out the procedure has caused my client to have a permanent problem with her balance. Now, this has resulted in loss of employment opportunities and a substantial financial loss.
The suggestion of negligence is absurd. The excision of bone was carried out within the accepted parameters for the procedure. I told Miss Salmon that she'd have a temporary problem with her balance.
You call 18 months temporary?
There is no physical reason why her balance should be permanently impaired.
So you're saying I'm imagining it?
I'm saying it's a matter of perception.
But ever since you cut off my toes...
I did not
whenever
cut off
I wear
your
high
toe.
heels, I'm terrified I'll fall over.
Perhaps you shouldn't wear high heels then. Perhaps it's the heels that are the real problem.
I never had a problem before.
I think we're getting off the point.
Well, you can see how distressed my client is by this debilitating condition brought about as a result of Mr. Foster's negligence.
It's not the high heels,
Renee,
it's the short toes.
Listen,
Look, I wear high heels when I work. It's part of my look.
Bloody nonsense.
Let's try to keep this civil.
What, you expect me to wear these?
Renee.
Why not?
Why not?
Right.
I'm not going to get up on a platform in these, you stupid man.
Can I just request a short adjournment so I can speak to my client in private?
Good idea.
Thank you.
5 minutes.
Renee, just through here.
I know, I'm sorry, darling, but whenever I see him, I just can't help myself.
I understand that.
Am I ruining your game plan?
No, things seem to be going pretty well.
You're not just saying that.
You've certainly demonstrated to the mediator that you feel aggrieved.
God, I'm mortified.
But it's time to let me take over and do the talking. This is the point where we have to pin Foster down.
I just want to murder him.
I wouldn't do that.
Look, he has no understanding of what this means to me. I can't go out. You understand that.
Of course I do, and I think you've argued that point effectively.
I just want him to realise what he's done.
Renee, the best revenge you can get is for me to extract a good settlement. Sit tight. We want to settle this. We don't want this to go to court.
All right, darling. I promise I'll behave.
Good. In her work as a compere and facilitator, Miss Salmon needs to be very confident. Now, the operation has caused her to lose the confidence that she had. This has affected her reputation and led to a substantial loss of income.
I was to compare the cervical cancer fundraiser last month. Well, I had to cancel. They made half the money they would have if I'd done it.
OK, if that's really the issue, then why don't I write out a cheque for the Cervical Cancer Foundation or whatever it is? How about 10,000?
Oh, that'd be very nice.
By all means, make a contribution to the fight against cancer, but that is quite separate to this.
No, but if he wants to give us some money, you know, I'd be
Look,
quite...
you are the only one seeking damages here, Miss Salmon. You may be concerned for the losses to the charities, but they are not parties to this action.
Yes,
Renee. Yes? We are only seeking damages for financial losses sustained directly by us.
All right, put a figure on it then.
$180,000.
What? Because she can't yet walk in high heels?
This includes both past and future losses. We are not only looking at lost fees from personal appearances, but also income from a potential range of endorsements and television and radio appearances.
You expect me to pay $180,000 when I was not in any way negligent?
I'm sure there's room for negotiation.
We are prepared to go to court.
So am I.
In which case, I'd be looking at a figure closer to $250,000.
Oh, you're joking.
I'm not really known for my sense of humour, Mr. Foster.
I can't take this seriously.
I think you should.
It's not just about the money. Given my client's public profile, if this does go to court, it will attract a considerable amount of publicity. Now, whatever the outcome, for the rest of your life, you will be known as the doctor who cut off Renee Salmon's toes. Sounds good, doesn't it? I don't think you're going to have people queuing at your surgery door.
Any word from our friend Cameron Foster?
No.
Well, we'll just have to wait and see.
No way he's going to cross the line.
He is worried, though.
He didn't look too worried to me. He looked as if he was going to tough it out.
He's worried, believe me.
What makes you so sure about that, Simon?
Well, he's a friend of mine. He told me.
A word, please. When?
After work, yesterday I had a drink with him. Is that such a big deal?
It could be. Whose idea was it?
Yes.
So he wanted to pick your brains?
Maybe, yes.
What did you tell him?
I told him nothing.
Did you discuss his financial situation with us?
It came up.
No, you can't do that, Simon. We're in a poker game with this bloke and you're showing him our hand.
I didn't tell him anything, Bill.
He might be an old mate of yours, but you're working for us now. You got to realise which side you're on. We're engaged in a life and death struggle with Foster and his misguided friends. If they're successful, they could bankrupt us.
I understand that.
What does he know?
He knows he's under pressure to pay the call.
And what was your advice?
I advised him that he pay it.
What? You said that? You
Yes,
said you
I
would...
said-
Fine. Okay, look, forget it. I didn't mean to get up on my high horse, but you can understand me being alarmed.
Bill, before you go, I don't need to be lectured to about loyalty.
It wasn't my intention, Simon. It was, I needed to know what the situation...
And I don't appreciate being told who I can have a drink with. And just for the record, I actually think we're shafting Cameron Foster on this. I know he hasn't paid the call, but I feel very uncomfortable about a whole political issue being played out at the expense of one individual.
And did you tell him that?
No, I didn't.
Bloody glad to hear it. Are we finished?
No. I personally paid the call, Bill, but I was deeply pissed off about it. And if I'd been just a little bit more pissed off, then I would have been on Ruth McIntyre's list along with Cameron Foster. MDA has to exist for its members. It has to. And even if we win this round, the bad taste the whole bloody thing's going to leave behind may well come back and haunt us. That's it. Now I've finished.
If ever I've doubted the wisdom of never appearing for yourself, I've just seen the living proof.
Yeah, and where was that?
This total idiot representing himself in mediation.
Yeah, so you doubled the damages?
Of course I did. How are you going with the Rosenblum appeal?
I lent someone a copy of my Williams. Caitlin said you had one.
And I'm the someone.
Yeah, just give it to her and then I'll know where it is.
So what's Caitlin's interest in a barrister's handbook?
Perhaps she has some notion of going to the bar.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I always thought that was the long-term plan.
Can I take your order?
It doesn't sound so long-term to me. Yes, I would like the roast vegetable panini, thanks.
And for you, sir?
Caitlin? I've looked everywhere. I can't seem to find my copy of Williams.
I've got it.
I've been thinking. Claudia's very happy with the work that you've been doing.
She should be.
I'm pretty flat out at the moment, so why don't you take over?
As instructing solicitor?
I'll still be keeping an eye on things because I have to, but you can take the weight.
What brought this on?
Nothing. Nothing. We've just, you know, both got confidence in you, and I don't want you to feel like anyone's holding you back.
Okay.
Good.
Mrs. Rosenbaum's got a real problem. She sounds like a frog.
Well, setting that aside, all she lost in the legal sense, and this will be our main ground of appeal, was a chance to have surgery performed by somebody else at some other time.
And as the risk remained the same, no matter when the surgery was performed or by whom, she did not lose a chance of any value.
And therefore, she should not have got any damages in the first place.
Exactly.
Happy, Nerida Bailey's here to see you.
So why doesn't she speak to Mark?
He's unavailable.
I'll bet he is.
She's got a cameraman with her.
Can you...
Keep her entertained?
Yeah, no, that'd be good. So what should I do? Beat a hasty retreat or go out all guns blazing?
Whatever you say, they'll hold it against you.
So you're advising a hasty retreat?
The less ammunition you give them, the less harm they can do.
You know Nerida's fucking Richard Savage.
You're kidding. The prick.
That's it. I mean, don't go near it.
I agree.
No, but if I avoid her, she'll use that as well.
You have to set the agenda.
Right. Look, I'll be polite but firm.
Nerida Bailey, Channel 3. Mr. Henderson, I realise you refused to be interviewed, but I would like to know why MDA is intent on depriving Mrs. Rosenbaum of her damages.
Is that camera rolling?
It's just on standby.
Well, just on standby. Look, I'm not prepared to be interviewed.
Just the one question?
It's rolling, isn't it? One question, okay.
Okay. Would you mind actually standing in front of the MDA logo? It just helps place you.
Place me.
Mr. Henderson, why is your organisation, MDA, taking the position that doctors have no responsibility to warn patients of possible risks?
That's not the question that you asked.
Mr. Henderson?
The issue was whether doctors should be held responsible for injuries that they could not have predicted in any way and where there is no negligence on their part. Thank you.
But this poor woman now has a serious impediment to her speech.
One question only. I'm not answering
And the judge
any more
found
questions.
that she had
No,
not fully informed of the risk. I mean, what have you got to
said one
say
more
about
question.
that? Why are you avoiding
No, I'm not
the
avoiding
issue?
anything. This is going to be handled in the court.
I mean, the
Now,
courts have already
if you don't
awarded
leave,
her
if you don't leave
compensation.
immediately, I'll call the police. Layla?
I mean, why are doctors
get
above
out.
the law?
Go. Just fuck off.
Very deft, Bill.
I'm glad I'm not with MDA on this one.
No appeal is ever certain.
I know that.
They've got some strong arguments. Let's face it, everyone seems to agree that the event was so random as to be more like a coincidence than a calculable risk.
We can turn that on its head.
How?
Simply because the chance of it happening was random.
Sorry? Can you develop that?
If Rosenbaum had been properly warned and had put off the operation, it's almost certain the damage would never have happened simply because the risk was indeed random, as a trial judge found.
Well put. What do you think, Richard?
Sounds good to me.
Thanks for coming in, Giles. Oh.
You know, Giles, if Gosper had given the specific warning and Rosenbaum had consequently cancelled the operation and then gone to a more experienced surgeon on another day and had then suffered the punctured esophagus, It could be argued that it was giving the warning which caused the damage.
Which is absurd.
That's right.
The opposition may not have thought of that one. I wouldn't bet on it. Caitlin will be using everything she's learned from me to try and second-guess every move we make.
You know she's thinking of leaving Cato's?
What? What's she going to do, run for Parliament?
Well, I think she's got her eye on the bar.
Now, wait a minute. I thought you said your drinks with Caitlin were not about business.
It's not business, it's gossip.
If she comes looking for a mentor, Giles, I highly recommend that you send her packing. Your opinions are duly noted, Bill.
Bye, Giles, thank you.
I don't think Savage realises how lucky he is getting rid of her.
I'm not sure that he's aware of her plans.
Matahari strikes again.
Come on, Simon, you must know. I'm fighting blind.
I've never handled one like this.
They're talking about $250,000 if it goes to court. That can't be right, can it?
Sounds steep, but I just don't know, honestly.
They must keep those sorts of figures at MDA.
Court cases are on the public record.
Yeah, but mediation's up. Andy Sherlock got hit with that claim about a fused metatarsal a couple of years back. I need to know what he settled for.
Ask him.
He won't tell me. Some crap about terms of the mediation.
Before my time.
All I need to know are the parameters, a rough idea, so that I know what a realistic figure might be. Now, can you find out?
No. It's confidential information.
You don't want to, you mean?
You can't expect that from me.
I need some help. I'm in there doing my best, but I don't even know the ground rules. And I'm going to end up having to pay the whole thing out of my own pocket.
So that's why we join medical indemnity organisations.
What if I'm hit with a couple of $100,000 in damages?
Did your accountant never tell you to put everything into Carol's name?
If I put everything in Carol's name, she'd divorce me tomorrow and walk away with a lot.
Sounds to me like you don't need any more problems than you've already got.
So, are we meeting there?
At his chambers.
Morning.
I was hoping to speak to you.
Well, we're on our way to court, so we'll probably be there all day.
This is important. For you, as well as for me.
You go ahead, Amanda. Won't be too long. Okay. Well, it must be some consolation to know that you've saved yourself at least $100,000.
And sacrificed a point of principle.
I always think it's a good idea to have a few principles saved up for a rainy day.
The fact that I'm paying this does not mean that I agree that the call was or is necessary.
Understood.
So I trust I won't be misrepresented in any way.
I think anyone else in your position would understand very clearly the situation you find yourself in.
Do the rest of the gang of 72 know about this?
They'll skin me alive.
We'll cover you for flagellation.
Cameron, it's for the best in the long run.
Go fuck yourself.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can we grab you, please, Ms. Montserrat?
Sure.
Sorry, but my producer insisted I go with the female with the curly wigs.
Montserrat, can you tell us about the decision today, Ms. Montserrat?
The court, in dismissing the appeal in this landmark decision, has laid down significant new guidance.
Well done, Richard. Well done, Caitlin. In what way?
In future, it will be a legal obligation on all doctors to provide patients with not only a full account on the risks that they face in undergoing any procedure, but they will also have to provide an account of their relevant experience. Oh, look, I hope no one spots me leaving the solicitor's office like this in this
You're not
state.
drunk, are you?
Oh, yes, half drunk. I won't be driving.
Being drunk is excusable. Being half drunk suggests a weakness of character.
Is that Oscar Wilde?
Come on, don't you think I'm capable of making up my own bon mot?
Bon what?
Look, good night. See you, Caitlin.
Good night. Oh, that was a good day. That was a really good day.
It was.
You did it. You pulled it off. I was sceptical at first, but you pulled it off.
Well, Claudia got to do all the exciting stuff.
Yeah, but who instructed her, and where would she have been without you? No, Caitlin, you're going to make a top-class plaintiff solicitor. Simple.
In 10 years' time, maybe.
What's 10 years?
Richard, there's something I wanted to tell you. I'm giving notice. I'm applying to do the reader's course.
Right. I thought you got over that.
No. If I don't do it now, I'll have to wait till next year. Sorry, I know when I came here I said I'd be here longer, but...
3 years, you said. That's what you said.
I know.
That was the understanding, wasn't it?
I have to do this. Can you understand?
No, I can't understand, Caitlin. You've been here 2 minutes and you're off. Now, you told me you really wanted to work here, that this was what you were really keen to do. Was that a lie, was it?
No, I meant it at the time. I meant it, but...
But what? What? Things don't move fast enough for you, Caitlin? Is that it? I mean, listen, you're smart, but you're not that smart. Can I just remind you, you stuffed up the first job you did here, but never mind that. I still let you instruct Claudia despite my better judgment.
You didn't think I could do it, did you?
I knew you could do it. I just didn't know how well.
I did, but I did.
No, you did all right.
Oh, only all right now. Okay.
Caitlin, what do you want? What do you want? Everything all at once? It doesn't happen
No, maybe
like
not.
that.
Maybe not for you, Richard. You might be happy to spend the rest of your life here, but I'm not.
Not the result we were looking for.
These slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
I trust Caitlin was generous in victory.
The garlands were generally bestowed on Claudia, actually.
I was thinking of seeing a movie tonight. You interested?
Sorry, I've got tickets to the theatre tonight.
There's that new French film.
Nancy and I saw that on the weekend.
Romantic?
The movie or going out with Nancy?
The movie.
No, I wouldn't bother.
Well, I think a long walk home might do me more good. Bye, all.
Good night. Good night, Jamie.
Good night.
Good night, Bill.
Good night, Happy.
Like you have been for the past
No,
year.
you're going to sit around waiting for the phone.
I'll be doing what I want to be doing, not what you or Bill or anyone else wants me to.
You will not like it,
No,
Caitlin.
what I don't like is feeling like some kind of plaything that's not being taken seriously.
Oh, I hired you, didn't I? I hired you.
Yeah, which was a great move for your ego.
Oh, don't tell me you weren't flattered. Come on, Caitlin. We've both got egos.
Jesus.
Both of us. I mean, you are a great solicitor. You're a great solicitor. And I tell you what, it beats the hell out of being a failed barrister.
Richard, I will not fail. I won't fail.
No, you won't. You give me such a hard time, you know.
We'd never be able to work together after this.
No. I tell you, I might be able to flick you the odd brief, though.
That's if you can afford me.
Dr. Foster went to Gloucester and got very wet.
Oh, really? What do you think we should do, Bill? Cash it or simply have it framed?
No, I wouldn't have cared if he'd given us a cheque for $1. It would have had the same effect. It meant that he crossed the line.
Yeah, absolutely. But don't you worry, I've been on the telephone to all those wusses on Ruth McIntyre's list telling them that he has.
And what's their response been?
Well, they're not crumbling yet, but there's definite signs of nervousness. My bet is that the rest of them will soon be following behind and there'll be more checks to come.
Excellent.
See you tomorrow.
Good night. And lines them up. Ooh.